Welcome back to the channel. Today I am doing some meal planning using my vintage cookbooks. I have quite a collection and I plan on doing a Monday to Friday, what we eat in a week, but using my vintage cookbooks to guide me throughout the week. So let's get into starting off what I made on Monday. Tonight's recipe comes from the Better Homes and Gardens Souvenir Edition Cookbook. This is from the year 1965, and I'm going to be making a Hungarian goulash. This was Monday and it was a very busy day for me, and so I needed a really quick dinner on the table, and this was it. I just needed to cook up some hamburger meat, throw in some onion, garlic, and some seasonings, and then a jar of my canned tomatoes, and let that cook for about half an hour. Before adding the tomatoes, I need a 1/4 cup of flour, and that's just going to get mixed in with the ground beef mixture. Once this has cooked for about half an hour at a low simmer, we are going to start our noodles. And I happen to have these German egg noodles in my cupboard, which was perfect. So I just cooked those according to the package directions. And then once the ground beef mixture was done cooking, all I needed to do was add some sour cream. And I added about a cup of sour cream to this, and this is really what adds the flavor of this dish. This really brought back memories of my childhood because I remember my dad making a goulash. And so I just love the flavor of this. And so I just divided this amongst the 4 plates, leaving enough for leftovers, and my husband and son happily came for more. And then I topped it with a little bit of dried parsley just for color. Yesterday's Hungarian goulash was an absolute hit with my family. Everyone loved it. My husband and son even came back for seconds. And today we are using this Food That Really Schmecks Mennonite Country Cooking Cookbook. And this is from the year 1968. And we're going to be cooking up a crusty chicken pot pie. So I'm going to be starting off with some chicken breasts. I'm going to be roasting them on both sides, getting a little bit of liquid in there so that we have juice for the gravy, cooking these up, and then I'm only going to be using maybe 1/2 to 3/4 of these for the chicken pot pie, saving a couple of them for later in the week so that I have some pre-cooked chicken. And I plan on using this baking dish, which I showed in my antique haul. And I thought it would be a really fun dish to use for a big family style pot pie. I need to get my Dutch oven heated up with some butter and olive oil. And I'm gonna be browning my chicken breasts on both sides, just seasoning with some salt and pepper. Now I made this during the work week, but I really recommend if you're going to make this dish, do it on the weekend because it was quite a lot of work and it was probably one of the more intense dishes that I made this week. I got these chicken breasts poaching in about a quart of liquid with a couple of bay leaves, steamed some veggies on the side in the meantime, and started my pie dough. And this dough recipe was very similar to a biscuit dough. And I turned the liquid from the chicken into a gravy. Then I put everything into the fridge until later when I had time to deal with it once my kids were done school. Later that afternoon, I got the dough back out and divided it into two. Now, I doubled the original recipe because I'm using a larger baking dish. And so I just rolled it out to about the size that I knew would fit into this dish. And then I filled it with the chicken, the vegetables, and then the gravy. And you could certainly put other vegetables of your choice in there. I just chose to keep it very simple. I covered it with the other half of the dough, pinched the edges, and cut some slits into it for steam to release, and then cooked it in a 375-degree oven for about an hour to an hour and 10 minutes. We're in November now, and our light hours are really decreasing. So it's already dark out by dinner time. And here is my crusty chicken pot pie. And it was very crispy, and I could see why it was named this. So I really enjoyed that. It was quite interesting compared to a regular pie dough. And then I made a coleslaw to go on the side with this. And this was a really enjoyable dinner. Today's recipe comes from the 1953 copy of The Joy of Cooking. And so for today, we are going to be making cabbage rolls. In the book, it's called Ground Beef and Cabbage Leaves. I absolutely love cabbage rolls. And you might notice that this week's menu is really meat heavy. And the reason for that is because I need to clear out some freezer space. I have a very small apartment-sized freezer, and we're processing a lot of food from our farm right now to store in the freezer. So I kind of have to clear out some space, and that's why I'm going meat heavy this week. I don't normally eat this much meat. But nonetheless, it's going to be delicious. And let's get into making the cabbage rolls. I started off by bringing to a boil and then simmering a whole cabbage head for about an hour on low heat. And then the next step is to cut up some onion, garlic, and herbs. I used sage and thyme from my garden. And then we're just going to mix this with some salt into some ground beef. We're going to put this simple mixture into the cabbage leaves and roll it up. And it couldn't be easier. I'm going to stack these up into my slow cooker, and then we're going to be adding some tomato sauce that I also added some of my home canned tomatoes into. and then putting this on high heat on my slow cooker for the day. I also did some potatoes in another slow cooker so that they would be cooked by dinner time. This was actually a very easy dinner to put together. I decided to rice the potatoes, but they were a bit waterlogged, and I probably wouldn't use this method again because they were just really watery and messy. But this was a very easy dinner to make. It didn't take very much time at all, and we really enjoyed this meal. Today I'm going to be cooking up a turkey. I'm using this Mennonite Treasury cookbook. Today I'm going to be doing a recipe for the stuffing or dressing. And I'm also going to be using the cooking timetable for the turkey out of this book. And so all I need to do is stuff this bird, get it in the oven, and then I can go work all day. And all I have to do is whip up some mashed potatoes and some carrots on the side. And then we'll be eating a really delicious dinner with lots of leftovers for the weekend. And I've got to get onto it. I've got a busy day ahead of me. I actually find that a turkey dinner is pretty easy to put together. So I just cooked up some butter with some celery, onion, and herbs, mixed that in with my bread cubes, and then also added an egg and some milk to this stuffing. And this was new for me. I've never added that to my stuffing before, and then I stuffed it into this bird. I didn't add any salt, pepper, or anything to the bird. I just covered it with foil and popped it right in the oven. And I cooked it at 325 for several hours. And then I worked outside all day while that bird was cooking. Okay, I'm going to be checking on the turkey now because I need to see where it's at for just so I know where I'm at in terms of starting the rest of the food. Also, checking on the liquid is important. Wow, it's looking nice. This turkey might actually be done. Yep. 2 o'clock in the afternoon and the turkey is finished. So I'm just going to take out this thermometer and cover it over, and then I think I am just going to, I don't know what to do, maybe put it back in the oven at a very low temperature and just keep it warm until dinner because I still have a couple hours here. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Once we got to dinner time, I took the bird out. I cut up some potatoes and some carrots, got that going, got the bird out and collected all of the liquid for a gravy. And because I have the stuffing, I don't need a lot of sides to go with this. And I added some flour and water mixture for my gravy. Very easy. And then just did mashed potatoes and carrots on the side. And let me tell you, this was pretty much the highlight dinner of the week. I really enjoyed how the stuffing held together a lot better than my usual stuffing. And so I think that I will continue to use this recipe, adding the milk and egg to my stuffing. And this is just one of the coziest meals that you can have in the winter time. I'm going to be real with you guys. Tonight we're having leftovers because it's been a bit of an insane cooking week. It's been a lot of work, if I'm being honest. So for this evening, I'm going to be making some Jell-O cups that are inspired by the gelatin recipes in these 1930s cookbooks. And I've been trialing this out for a little while now. And my family has really been enjoying this. And not only does it make a great dessert that's on the lighter side, but it's also kind of a packable item that you could put in a child's lunch. Or I just like to keep them in the fridge so that when someone has a sweet tooth, it's kind of a good option. For this recipe, I will be using regular Jell-O as well as some canned cherries, but you can certainly use fruit juice and regular gelatin for a healthier option. So I'm using 2 packages of strawberry Jell-O, and I need 4 cups of boiling liquid. And then we're going to stir this and make sure that all of that gelatin melts in the hot liquid. And then I'm using the juice from those cherries, as well as some ice cubes to reach up to 2 cups. And then I need another 2 cups of cold water as well, for a total of 4 cups of cold water. But I'm adding ice cubes because I really want this to go quick. We're going to hold back about 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup of this Jell-O and reserve that, putting it into the fridge to chill. And then I'm filling my mason jars about halfway up. I ended up getting 15 Jell-O cups, so they're all half full. And so now my next step is I need to put these into the fridge for a little bit, maybe an hour, until they start to set a little bit. And then we'll be moving on to the next part of these Jell-O cups. Once the Jell-O is partially set, these cherries will be suspended in the liquid. Then I need to mix up about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of whipped cream, mix that with the reserved Jell-O, and then put that on top. And now these are going to go into the fridge and set the rest of the way. I've also tried this with orange Jell-O and those canned mandarin oranges. Delicious. You won't regret making this, and your family will be really happy. Adding Jell-O to the whipped cream sort of gelatinizes it, and it's so good. All right, you guys, I took you through the whole week of what I made, and I'm going to have all of the recipes down in the description box. And I hope this will inspire you to have some more different kinds of dinners that feel out of the realm of what you normally cook, because I feel like we all get bored cooking the same things over and over again, and sometimes we just need that spark of inspiration. And that is why I have a cookbook collection, and I just love spending my time looking through these when I have some free time. And so I really hope that you enjoyed this. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. I make new videos every single week on food from scratch, homemaking, and life on our farm. So take care, and I will see you guys next Wednesday.